Randy Orton, the biggest self-entitled prick in professional wrestling, or the biggest troll on the internet? Right here, we're going to talk about the controversy surrounding Randy Orton and the Indies. Let's talk about it.
Fill your glasses up and put your headphones in, because it's time for Off the Script. And all you fucking goons and assholes, get in line and hit subscribe, because it's time for Off the Script. Hit the like button and share it around. You can even pull your fucking pants down, because it's time for Off the Script with JD from New York 206, because it's time for Off the Script, because it's time for Off the Script.
Wow, man, I'm looking at this, and I've been looking at this all weekend, contemplating whether I should talk about this or not, because, quite frankly, I really don't have any opinion on this. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I don't know if Randy Orton's a fucking dick, if he was drunk, or if he's just being the biggest troll on the internet, or decided to be the biggest troll this weekend on the internet. I don't know. And the more I look at it, I'm trying to play both sides of the fence here. I'm trying to look at it from Randy Orton's perspective, and I'm trying to look at it from the indie fans' perspective. Now, I understand, and I completely understand the old school heads and their mentality. I really do, okay? I am an old school head. I love old school WWF. It's what I was raised on. It was the one thing that I was taught wrestling to be, right? And you look at the current state of WWE now, or not even just the current state of WWE, you look at the current state of professional wrestling today, and it's changed. It's not what we watched back in the day. It's a little bit more aerial techniques, a little bit more aerial based. It's a little bit more based on athleticism and who can outdo who, and chain wrestling and fancy, who can be the most fanciest in the ring with lack of storytelling, and super kick after super kick after super kick, and who can put on a fucking 10-star match. Believe me, I know. The way we used to gauge 10-star matches, and I use that as a huge sarcasm, the way we used to base 5-star matches, or the way we used to accumulate a rating for a match, was based on the storytelling. And I always reference, and you guys know this, the feud between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. You can even go back and look at the fucking feuds between Mankind and The Undertaker. Great fucking storytelling. Or the feud between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret the Hitman Hart. Why were those feuds? Why were those matches? Why were the matches that took place within that feud, or those feuds, why were they so successful? It's because of the story. The reason why that match at WrestleMania 13 with Bret the Hitman Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin in that submission match in Chicago with Ken Shamrock as the enforcer, the reason why that match was so great, you take away everything else on that show, the reason why that one match stands out, and the reason why that feud stands out in a period where WWE was not doing good business at all, is yes, you got Bret and you got Stone Cold, two Hall of Famers. But what are they both known for? It's the fact that they are great storytellers. Bret Hart is an amazing fucking storyteller. What he does in the ring comes naturally. You know he's one of the greatest of all time. What Steve Austin does in the ring, you know he's one of the greatest of all time. But what is the most important aspect of what made that storyline so great? And the same thing goes for Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. It's the fact that they know how to tell a story. And when you can grab the viewer and you can just suck them in and have their attention nowhere else but what is going on in that ring, that makes a 5-star match to me. You go back and relive the first time you watched those matches, or you go back and watch those matches now. I guarantee you, whatever else you got going on around you, unless you got your fucking girlfriend dancing around in lingerie around the fucking television, okay? Even she wouldn't take her attention away from those matches because that's how great they are. Even now, you go back and watch that Bret Hart Stone Cold match, your attention is going nowhere for 30 minutes. Nowhere. Same thing with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker at 25. WrestleMania 25. Now, you take that and you look at what is going on nowadays in the world of professional wrestling. It is vastly different. I understand completely, and I know there's a few people in the comment section because I see it. I see it. Some of you just loathe modern day wrestling. Okay? I don't. I prefer what I just explained to you, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I didn't enjoy Kenny Omega versus Okada. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't enjoy the work of Ricochet, because I do. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't enjoy the work of the Young Bucks. It's just the way the business is transforming. It's not the same animal, okay? But I appreciate what everybody nowadays in the indies is trying to do. I'm around this. I am around this because I work for House of Glory. House of Glory, and being a commentator, watching the men and women go into the ring, you know, do their thing on the indies. You know, you gain a different perspective from being 10 feet away from the ringside area calling a match at the NYC Arena in Astoria, you know? You're doing commentary for the promotion, and you're looking at all the hard work that the men and women are doing, and it just gives you a whole nother level of appreciation. So I'm in and around the indies now, whereas I wasn't before. So my level of appreciation and my level of respect is raised 50-fold compared to where it was before. Before, I appreciated what everybody was doing because when it boils down to it, wrestling is an art. It's two men or two women who are going out there and showing you what they've learned and showing you how athletic they are. It's a spectacle. It's an art. Back in the day when we used to watch Bret and Shawn, and Bret and Austin, and Shawn and The Undertaker, it's art. Nobody ever said that art had to be the same up and down across the board. There's different visions of art. Okay, art to you might be art to, might not be art to somebody else. You know? Music is art. Music is art. Just look at music. That's the easiest way for me to describe it. To me, music is one of the greatest art forms that there is on this planet. What is art to me might not be art to you. I enjoy Symphony X. I enjoy the orchestras. I enjoy the keyboards. I enjoy Michael Romeo's fucking blazing guitar solos. I enjoy the powerful voice that is Russell Allen, who nobody on this earth besides Miles Kennedy of Alter Bridge can even come close to. Okay? I enjoy 5 men cohesively coming together to create art. Whether they're talking about fucking warriors and angels and demons and fucking spirits and fucking heaven and hell, or they're fucking singing a love ballad about loving somebody and missing somebody so much that you can't live without them. It's art. Art to me might not be art to you. I'm sitting here talking about how I love Symphony X and Alter Bridge. Art to you might be DMX or fucking Jay-Z or Eminem or Beyonce or whatever the hell you guys are listening to nowadays. Something that I don't know of. Something that I really don't know of, that I really can't speak of. Because I don't know it. It's the same thing. Art to me might not be art to you. Art to Randy Orton, right, might not be art to somebody else. So, just look at it in Randy Orton's eyes. I don't know whether he was drunk. I don't know whether he was just trying to be the biggest troll on the internet this weekend. But art to him might not resemble what's going on in the indies. But I'm going to do my best to give you guys a fair, level-headed opinion of this entire thing. That's just my precursor before I get into the story. I'm just saying that when it boils down to it, you know, music is music. You like music, I like music. We like different types of music. It's art to you. Whatever you listen to might not be art to me. I might not like it because I don't understand it. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate the talent that is put forth to create that music, because I used to play music. Same thing with Randy Orton. Randy Orton was raised and born into this business. He has a different mentality of what it takes to be a professional wrestler. Randy Orton was groomed for the top before he even was fucking born. He didn't have to go through what Ricochet and Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega are doing now. He was already given a fucking throne to the top of the kingdom. He didn't have to go do the indies. Whereas these guys are working the indies and they're busting their ass to try and get to where Randy Orton is. It's a different mentality from Randy Orton. I understand where he's coming from. But I also wish that he realized what he was saying before he said it. Because it's not fair. It's not fair to judge something that you don't understand. It's not fair to judge anybody in the same business that you're in because you automatically were given a title and a fucking top spot right out of the womb. And guys like Kenny Omega and Ricochet and Will Ospreay and everybody else that's doing what they're doing has to bleed just to even get noticed by WWE. You got to try and look at it from both sides of the coin. You really do. I'm not here to cut anybody down. Because this is a topic that's going to fucking live and breathe on its own for years and years and years to come. As long as we're in this renaissance of what's going on in the indies right now, it's always going to be a huge talking point. You can't cut one party down over the other. You can't side with one party over the other. This is what makes professional wrestling so great. It's just a huge talking point. And it all started with a tweet from Rip Rogers. Rip Rogers, if you guys don't know who he is, Rip Rogers wrestled for the NWA and WCW and trained wrestlers in OVW. And he said this. I believe this was, let me see, it all started with Canadian wrestler Daniel D-Man Parker tweeting out a screen cap on what he thinks about indie wrestling at the moment. Every indie wrestling match now. Handshake, drawn out move exchange, this is awesome chant, strike exchange, dive, no sell indie strong style, dive, more strikes, no sells, dive, flippy floppy sequence, dive, hit everyone with each other's finishers, then Humpty Dumpty, we all fall down, fight forever chant, rinse, repeat until every move is useless and means nothing, dive. So that was that. That was that. Do I agree with that? to an extent, but it's what's popular. It's what's now. It's 2017. If you guys want to go see fucking headlocks for 15 minutes, if you guys want to go see Hogan doing a fucking wrist lock for 20 minutes, and then hulking up and doing the big boot and a leg drop and getting a win, by all means, that's what you got the network for. But if you take the formula of what WWF was back in the day and you apply it to what WWE is now today, it ain't gonna get over, man. It ain't going to get over. Why do you think AJ Styles is the most popular wrestler in the WWE right now? You think he's popular because he's AJ Styles? Who the fuck was AJ Styles before he got to the WWE? Nothing but a TNA household name. Nobody really knew him in the annals of WWE. How did they get to know AJ Styles? Because of the talent the man possesses. Simple. Look at the cruiserweights. They might not be over, but it's the initiative that Triple H is instilling in the WWE. Their initiative is to find guys like everyone who's on the independent circuit. It's something that is popular. Why do you think WWE capitalized on raiding the UK scene? Why do you think they got their own UK Live coming to the network later this month? It's because it's popular. You can't be in nowadays if you are not in with the in crowd. WWE is trying to be in with the in crowd. And they're going to continue to try and be in with the in crowd because everybody that has been tweeting, the Ricochets and the Ospreys and the Omegas and the Young Bucks, you can't tell me that WWE or Triple H are eyeing these guys for a future run in the company. It's what's in. It's not WWE's main initiative right now, but their mindset is completely different than what it was 20 years ago. Where guys like Batista and Chris Masters and fucking Great Khali and all these other fucking guys who can't wrestle for shit got signed just based on their freak-like statistics and attributes. You know? It's not that way anymore. Daniel Bryan and CM Punk paved the way for what we see today in WWE. But as far as this tweet here, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue what was said here. That clearly is what an indie match is. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't like it. I love it because it's exciting. It generates excitement. And if there's excitement in wrestling, it's infectious. You want to be around it. Simple. You just got to learn to appreciate what the art is for wrestling nowadays. That is the art that people are trying to emulate. Simple. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no way around it. When wrestlers were back in the day, who did they try to emulate? They tried to emulate the Perfects and the Harts and the Michaels and all the guys like that, right? Now, when you are a professional wrestler, who are you trying to emulate? You're trying to emulate what you see with the Ricochets and the Omegas and the Young Bucks and the Ospreys. It's just a different time and a different period. Now, moving on here. That seemed to pick up things a bit with that tweet, as a bunch of fans joined on board to either pretty much heckle Orton. Quite a few pointed out that he does a wide variety of chin locks, or they agreed with him. Many also took shot at Rip Rogers. Soon other wrestlers in the industry gave their thoughts as well. Current Impact star Eddie Kingston quickly jumped in, and he says to Rip Rogers, "Some of this is true, and yes, I might not like it either, but this is the new way. I might not do it, but it doesn't make it wrong or right." EC3 from Impact tweeted, I wish I wrote this. And he agreed with the tweet that Rip Rogers retweeted from Daniel Parker. Will Ospreay joined in on this. He said, and he was very, you know what, it's whatever. He's not going to take offense to it. Will Ospreay said, yeah, but I'm having fun and making money, so I'm happy. Take the high road. Take the high road. Rip Rogers responded to Will Ospreay, telling him he did stupid shit when he was younger too, and that the young wrestler will someday get it. Ospreay then responded to that with a series of tweets pointing out that he currently has deals with Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling. He said that he does respect Rogers, though, and hopes he isn't coming across as rude. Eventually, Parker himself returned and made note of Orton liking his comment. When the WWE World Champ likes your comments, there must be some truth to this. He is the top guy after all. Now, Randy Orton did tweet himself, and this is what he said. Sorry to the indie marks, indie guys and old timers who do dives that took offense. Just having a good time over a few drinks in Denmark, closing the SmackDown Live tour while beating Raw and making over $5 million in the last 11 shows. Now, I know to some that doesn't equate to standing room only crowds of 150 people paying $8 at an armory somewhere, but in the big boy world, that's called putting asses in seats. So enjoy your flips, dives, and 20 super kicks per match, to each their own. So, Randy Orton then added that he will dive back into his WWE Championship reign and flip when he receives his bank statement at the end of the month. He concluded his statement with the word headlock, in reference to how fans often call him out for his tendency to use rest holds in his matches. About an hour prior to posting his apology, Orton also replied to a Twitter post from Bubba Ray Dudley, who now uses the name Bully Ray in Ring of Honor. Bully Ray, whose real name is Mark LaMonaco, tweeted a photo of himself diving off the top rope as a group of wrestlers looked down on in the ring, only for Orton to follow with this statement, and I quote, LOL, there is a difference between a young, hungry talent diving and an old, out-of-shape vet falling. So, in response to that, Bully Ray explained that his tweet had nothing to do with Orton. He did, however, which I don't believe, because, I mean, if you're chiming in on this, clearly it's against Randy Orton, okay? He did, however, add that his act of falling on several wrestlers was better than the heavily criticized House of Horrors match between Orton and Bray Wyatt at WWE's Payback pay-per-view. So, I don't know if this is going to continue or not, but I will say this. Randy Orton can say whatever the fuck he wants. He's the WWE champion. He's at the top of the mountain in WWE on SmackDown Live. Fine. But as a leader in the WWE and as a world champion, okay? Now, this is my mentality on the entire thing. Randy Orton should have a little bit more respect for the current state of the business, okay? I completely understand that his mindset might be, you know what, this is the way it should be done. I don't appreciate this new shit, okay? But if he is the leader of SmackDown and a world champion and a veteran in his own right, who's in this business for the right reasons, he should appreciate the young guys trying to make a name for themselves, no matter how they are going about it. All because you were given a top spot right out of the womb doesn't give you the right to discredit anybody trying to work their ass off and risk their career every night to get where you are. If that's the road they want to take, let them take that road. It's either they will succeed at it and they will get to where you are eventually. Now, I use that loosely because not anybody is just going to walk into WWE and be a Randy Orton. But I mean that in a way, let them take the road they want to take to try and get a top spot in the WWE. If they get hurt along the way, let them learn on their own that there are other ways to go about it, that they don't have to do a Will Ospreay or a Ricochet every night. Flip, 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 dive, 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 risk my life here, risk my life there. That doesn't give you the right to discredit the art form that is wrestling. Wrestling in the WWE is not the end-all be-all of wrestling. Wrestling nowadays is so much expanded from what it was that you need to accept the current state of the business. You have to accept it. It's the way it is. You know, he should have a little bit more respect on all the young guys doing what they're doing to make a name for themselves, because in the end, it's always about professional wrestling. It's not about a Ricochet. It's not about a Will Ospreay. It's not about a fucking Kenny Omega. It's not about a Young Bucks. It's not about a Marty Scurll or Jay Lethal or an Adam Cole or this or that. It's not about any of these guys. Randy Orton comes off as a self-entitled, I'm going to take my paycheck, I don't give a fuck about this business prick. Instead of being a leader and appreciating the art form of professional wrestling. You do know, and I wish he understood this. I wish he knew how silly his comments were. How close-minded his comments were. The shit that these guys are doing is only making the business more popular. We're never going to achieve the heights of the Attitude Era where it was 8 and 9 ratings. They're not going to be fucking, selling t-shirts like crazy, this and that. They're not going to achieve the heights of success where wrestling was fucking everywhere, where it was cool to be a wrestling fan. But the fact that these guys are doing what they're doing nowadays is only beneficial for the business. It's making wrestling cool again. WWE is not making wrestling cool again. If WWE wanted to make wrestling fun and cool again, they would be leading the charge instead of following all these guys and the footsteps that they're creating. WWE is following and monitoring everything that the indies are doing. And you can't tell me that they're not, because Triple H is all over that. All over that. It might not be seen to Vince, it might not be seen to Kenny Omega, and fucking Bucktooth Dunn. But WWE has a keen eye on what is going on. Believe me. They might not admit it, but they are aware of everything going on. And when those guys are free agents, where do you think they're going to end up? Because what they're doing now has an end goal. You think they want to be stuck in Ring of Honor for the rest of their career? You think Kenny Omega wants to be stuck in New Japan his entire career? No, he wants to win the big one, and he wants to go main event WrestleMania with AJ Styles. Because that's the culmination of the man's hard work. You think Ricochet wants to be, wrestling in 3 promotions? No. You think he wants to be doing flips on the indies in front of 800 people with Will Ospreay? Of course not. He wants to be at WrestleMania. He wants to be wrestling Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Randy Orton should have thought long and hard about what he wrote. All because you were born into this business doesn't give you the right to brag about your paycheck or the fact that you're a 13-time world champion. It doesn't give you the right to discredit the industry that you're in. It makes you come off as, I'm only here for Vince's paycheck. I don't give a fuck about this place. I don't give a fuck about the industry. It's an art form. Respect the business that you're in. Respect the hard work that these men and women are doing just to get a taste of where you're at. You know, I was at House of Glory for their last show, New World Rising. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were in the ring, and they said it all starts with what these men and women are doing in this ring and promotions like House of Glory. It all starts here. This is the reason why our business is thriving. Randy Orton should have thought long and hard about what he wrote. You know? I understand the mentality of where he's coming from, but the unfair criticism of everything that's going on in the indies right now is simply that. It's unfair. You have no right, and granted it's his opinion, you have no right to put down the route someone wishes to take to get where you're at, or at least have a taste of where you're at. If that's the route they want to take, let them take it. They'll learn. But in the end, it's making the business thrive. They are doing what they love. It's wrestling. And in the end, we are all here because we love wrestling. And I can't express that any better. I'm here because I love wrestling. I commentate for HOG because I love wrestling. And I appreciate all the work that goes in to making this art form something that I will take from my early childhood to the grave. I love it. And it's the reason why we're all sitting here right now. That's my thoughts on that. If you guys have any thoughts on this topic, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, sound off in the comments below. The comment section is your forum. I'm getting out of here. I'll see you guys for what I hope is a great Monday Night Raw. You know? After last week's disaster, I just want to stay awake for 3 hours. Can you do that for me, Vince? Probably not. But we'll be watching anyway. Apparently Brock Lesnar is supposed to have a new #1 contender for his Universal Championship decided tonight. Miz versus Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship. We'll talk about it tonight. I'll be doing the review tonight for you guys on the channel. Thank you guys so much. Follow me on Twitter at JDFROMNY206. Please hit that subscribe button down below with the bell for the notification. And if you guys want to support the channel, patreon.com/JDFROMNY206 and audibletrial.com/offthescript. 30 days free to try Audible service with 1 free audiobook of your choice. You guys can get whatever you want, man. Over 180,000 books to choose from. And you want to cancel the service, you guys can cancel and keep your audiobook for free no matter what, man. Compatible with iPhone and Android. audibletrial.com/offthescript. I'm getting out of here, guys. I'll see you guys tonight for Monday Night Raw. Hopefully it's a good show. And that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that thumbs up. Hopefully there's a fucking ad on this video. If not, there you go. I'll see you guys later.